It's another Facebook Live Monday here from the Venderley Football Complex. Joel Gadet and the head coach Mike Neu. The Cardinals come off the loss at Western Kentucky on Saturday, a tough one to grin and bear for you guys. Does it feel any differently or better 48 hours later?
No, it feels like Monday after a loss. I like last week's Monday much better, but we've had a chance to look at the tape. Obviously, starts with can't lose a turnover battle. Our defense did a really good job in the first half of keeping us in the game until offense got on track there in the second half and was able to put some points on the board. But the effort was there, the fight was there, but, when you have an opportunity in the fourth quarter like we did, we had a 1-point lead. Once we kicked off, they took it down. They did a nice job putting a 2-minute drive, or shouldn't say 2 minute, they put a nice job of putting a drive together, scoring a touchdown, kicked the ball back off to us, and we got minute 30 left, a timeout. So once we were in that situation, 2 minute, we just didn't execute the way we need to in order to have a chance to win on the road.
What was different? It seemed like that was the fastest their offense had moved all day, and maybe it struck a comfort zone for them. And I guess maybe this is a broader question in general. Why, when teams have their backs up against the wall, sometimes do you feel like, bing, bang, boom, down the field they go?
Well, that's a good question. We felt good about where we were at defensively. We had done a good job of containing them really in the second half, the whole second half, and so we felt good about, obviously we want to kick this thing deep. There's a dangerous return guy. You worry all game long. We started the game out with a little bit of a sky kick. Didn't quite get him, didn't sky it as far as we would have liked to have, but we started out the game with a sky kick, so we wanted to kick it deep. Our guys took on that challenge, covered it, felt like we were in great shape there, and obviously you got to give them credit for putting a drive together when their back was against the wall, when they hadn't moved it really in the second half, and they were able to execute. And it's tough to swallow, but for the same time, we got to make our corrections. We got to come back and start MAC play this week.
Let's dive into the biggest news going into that right off the top, and that was that nobody was healthy. You guys took a loss at quarterback, a loss at running back. Obviously, both guards were not healthy for you. Mark Walton didn't play at corner. Kind of what did you know when going into the week, and how did that change the game plan for you and the strategy going into it?
Well, the biggest challenge was not finding that information out until Thursday morning. Right before we hit the practice field, we found out that Riley was not going to be able to go in the game. We were hoping still, a guy like James, hoping, maybe a guy like Vinny, hoping that Jordan Hogue will be back. Mark Walton injured himself late in the week of practice. So there was a lot of things that happened later in the week. And so that was the toughest challenge more than anything else. But you got to give all of our young guys, all of our guys credit that are, in a backup type role. They did a good job of keeping themselves mentally prepared. Jack's one of those guys that he always stays into the game plan, even though he may not get as many reps throughout the week of practice. But, once he hit the practice field Thursday and Friday, he got every single rep and took advantage of that. So, our job as coaches is to get everybody prepared because, it doesn't matter what football team it is. Everybody's going to face an injury situation. And, it just happened to be that game for us. And we're hoping our guys can get back healthy.
How was Jack?
Jack did a very nice job starting out the game. He made some big throws. You think about the wheel route that he threw to Malik Dunner. You think about the very next play, he threw that corner route to Nolan Given. And those were two very impressive throws that required great touch, that required, there wasn't a ton of space, if you will, and it took a throw that was going to be located perfectly. So proud of him the way he started. Obviously, he threw the interception there to Justin Hall on a corner route on their sideline, maybe a tick late with that ball. And then at the end there when, we were in a 2-minute drive and he threw the pick six. But, Jack competed. That's one thing I know about him. And he remained calm and poised on the sideline, never got flustered by anything, felt like he was seeing the field well, taking what they were giving him. And, I think, if his numbers called upon again this week, I know he'll, have another great week of practice and we'll be ready to go.
It seemed like the receivers helped him out a lot, too. One of the better games they'd played, Justin Hall, the deep ball, you mentioned his ability to go up and get it. I'm still not 100% sure whether or not Antoine Davis was in bounds, but officially he was, so a great catch by him. Your impression of the job that they did helping a guy out?
Well, I think not only the receiver group, tight ends, the running backs, everybody knows, hey, we got to rally around whoever's leading our football team. It was Jack the other night, but I thought all of our position groups did a nice job, man, of saying, hey, man, we're going to take it upon ourselves. We're going to make sure Jack knows that we got his back. The receivers did. They went up and competed for some balls, and that was nice to see, and it was nice to see our guys come down with those big catch there by Justin Hall on that last touchdown drive that we put together. It was a one-on-one matchup, and for lack of a better word, it was a jump ball, and he went up and got that. And so I think it just shows our guys, love to compete. And when you're on the road like that, we know it's tough to win against a program like Western Kentucky. It's had a good history and have had a great program winning the Conference USA the last 2 years. So we knew it was going to be a challenge, and we competed, but unfortunately for us, we came up short.
Quick reminder before we go on to Western Michigan, as always, if you have questions, feel free to comment below or shoot us a message on Twitter as well, leading into our chats on Mondays, and we'll funnel those questions on to Coach Neu as well. But first off, you've got Western Michigan coming up this week, so officially it is time to take back the MAC, quite literally speaking. That's been the mantra for you guys, and now it's conference play. Do things change for you guys, or is it just game week and you have to take every game week like a game week?
Well, we do. Our approach every single week is we're putting a game plan together. We're trying to get our guys as healthy as possible to go win. That's our expectation level, to win every single week, no matter who the opponent is. Told our guys Sunday night, hey, we're 2-2 right now. We're 0-0 in the MAC. It has officially started. Our goal is to win a Mid-American Conference Championship. Our goal is to take back the MAC. That starts this week on the road against the defending Mid-American Conference champions. Yes. Have they changed personnel? Yes. Have they changed coaching staffs? Yes. Are they still very talented? Absolutely. So they've won 2 in a row now after having 2 tough games to start out there on the road against USC and against Michigan State. So it's a good football team. It's going to be physical. There's a little extra added incentive on the line here. We know somebody on that sideline.
I don't know who that could be.
But it's going to be, for our guys, it's a great challenge. We start MAC play, and, every game is tough. Every game is a battle. But our guys know that, hey, come tomorrow morning, we're ready to go to work, put a great plan in place to go win this football game.
Have you texted Tim Dowse and asked what the game plan is, just to see if he might respond out of old habit?
No, we've had some, minimal text exchanges, since we have gone our separate ways, and a lot of respect for Tim, great football coach. Enjoyed my time here with him, but we're on opposite sidelines now, and it's time to compete.
Best run game that you might have seen this year? I know it's hard to, everybody's kind of who they are, but they've got 3 of the best ones I think you're going to see all year.
No, there's no question. You just talk about their depth at the running back position. Those guys are all dangerous. Once they get the ball in their hands on any given play, they can take it the distance. So we got to do a good job, number one, of we know they're going to run the football, but we got to limit the big plays. We got to tackle well. We got to get hats to the football. It seems like something that you could say every single week, but especially in this case, because these are 3 of the best, if not the best, in our conference.
How about one guy in particular, and on the other side of the football, that's Darius Phillips for him. Cornerbacks are not the same as a running back because you can't just give them the ball, but in his case, a lot of teams just give him the ball and he runs it back to the house. Your impressions of his skill set, both as a DB but also as a return man, the second week in a row, you've got to really worry about somebody who can run one back on you.
Speed. He's got speed. That's the first thing I think about when I think of Darius Phillips. And obviously, like you said, his impact in the return game so far this year and over his career, we got to keep it away from him. Let's not kick it to him. Obviously, Coach Doherty will have a good plan in place here. And we just faced a dangerous return guy at Western Kentucky, so we'll be prepared for that. But, one way to limit him is to keep the ball out of his hands. So we got to do a good job of that. Our coverage guys got to be disciplined and stay in our lanes and be sound that way. But obviously, he presents a challenge, and rightfully so, and he's been very successful thus far on the season.
Who was better, the 1993 MAC Offensive Player of the Year at quarterback or the 1996 MAC Freshman of the Year at quarterback?
I'll leave that up to you to decide. How's that? I know that I'm proud of winning a Mid-American Conference Championship in 1993.
Your relationship with Tim Lester, though, you guys, I think a lot of people would look at you guys as fairly similar guys, played the same position, kind of similar rises in the coaching ranks, not being at your alma mater. I know you've crossed paths before in the professional ranks. How far back do you guys go?
Well, we do. We go back quite a ways. I got a lot of respect for Tim. I'm pulling for him, just not this week. Ironically, funny story, when I was coaching arena football, I signed Tim Lester to the Carolina Cobras in the Arena Football League, but I also cut Tim Lester. He reminds me of that quite often. So, but we've maintained good friendship. Obviously, we haven't seen each other a ton over the years, but now that we've been together at some of the head coaches meetings and anytime we're around each other, he's just a guy that we feel like a lot of similarities, a lot in common. And again, I'm pulling for him, just not this week.
All right, Mike, best of luck.
Okay, thank you.
It's the Cardinals and Western Michigan Broncos from Waldo Stadium, 7 o'clock on Saturday. We'll be back here next Monday at 11:45 to wrap it all up on Facebook Live.